Hi, my name is Isabella Oyola, and today I'm going to be presenting on plant-based health and the culture surrounding it. These are the definitions of plant-based and animal-based diets based off of my research. So, a plant-based diet is eating only foods that are derived from plants, avoiding any animal products such as dairy, meat, eggs, and fish. And an animal-based diet is eating a variety of animal products and plant-derived products, not excluding dairy, meat, eggs, and fish. So, one of the many causes as to why people are reluctant to transition to plant-based diets is because of toxic masculinity and society equating manliness to meat consumption. A quote from one of the articles I used in my paper says, "The fast food industry repeatedly suggests that real men eat more meat and that compromised masculinity can be regained through meat consumption." This is very harmful not only to the men who are sacrificing their health in hopes of quote unquote regaining their compromised masculinity through meat consumption, but also obviously to the animals that they're eating. In a documentary that was released in 2019 titled The Game Changers, Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the famous actors who was featured in it. One author wrote their takeaway from the movie and said that he, Arnold Schwarzenegger, touches on how he has in the past been used by the meat industry as the shining example of the kind of man who eats steak, the desirable, strong man who can lift and fight and be the Terminator. I'm sure we've all seen ads that talk about reclaiming your manliness by eating meat or eating like a man, but that simply isn't true, and it also compromises their health. A common dieting theme around meat is avoiding eating red meat, but one article I cited says that when red meat or processed meat is broken down in the digestive tract, heme iron speeds up a reaction that results in the formation of N-nitroso compounds. NOC are carcinogens, which means that they can lead to cell changes that can ultimately lead to cancer. So it's not just red meat, it's any processed meat. That can be sausage, lunch meat, hot dogs, or steaks. Another quote from the same article says that when red meat is digested, a chemical called trimethylamine is produced. This gets converted to trimethylamine N oxide. This chemical is particularly hazardous for our arteries. It can lead to a buildup of sludge and plaques which narrow our arteries, which makes it harder for enough oxygen to get to the heart. Not only does eating meat cause cell mutations which can lead to cancer, it also leads to heart disease and cardiac arrest. Many people think that plant-based nutrients are inferior to animal-based nutrients. For example, milk. A common advertising trend is that children need to drink milk so they can have strong bones in the future, or that we need milk because of the calcium that's in it, but that's a fallacy. Two researchers who wrote an article about the effects of milk on the body said, in children, dairy products can cause chronic constipation, ear infections, colic, asthma, and skin disorders. Milk also is deficient in fiber, niacin, vitamin C, and iron, and often contains traces of pesticides, hormones, and antibiotics. So not only is milk a terrible source of nutrients, it also has pesticides and cow hormones, and the antibiotics that are given to the cows also show up in the milk. The article also states that high calcium intakes are no more efficient than low ones at increasing bone density in teenage girls. Bone density is affected significantly by how physically active they are as teens. So they concluded that milk does not make your bones stronger, and advertising that milk is essential because of the calcium is false. Because in the research, they found that the most countries who have the most cases of osteoporosis, which are the US, Sweden, and Finland, also have the highest dairy consumption rates. So milk essentially destroys your bones. Another thing the article says is that giving a child voluminous amounts of milk to ensure he or she gets enough calcium while feeding a salty, meat-heavy diet is akin to running water into a bathtub without closing the drain. Salt and meat actually leach the calcium from our bones, as does smoking and inactivity. They also say that the key to building strong bones in children and adults is generating a positive calcium balance, a rich array of fruits, vegetables, and other plant foods with plenty of exercise and vitamin D. This directly correlates to living a healthy plant-based lifestyle. Another factor in why plant-based diets are not as widely known is the socioeconomic factors. In a study done by 3 scientists, they compared fast food outlets and grocery outlets to the distance of schools and higher socioeconomic communities and lower socioeconomic communities. And they concluded that while family social class is an important predictor for infrequent fruit and vegetable intake in youth, the data also suggests that family social class modifies the relationship of food outlet exposure on intake, meaning that when the students are walking home, they see more fast food outlets instead of grocery outlets, and them being more exposed to fast food outlets makes them eat fast food more often. This is shown in another quote that says, for instance, lower intake of fruit and vegetables may result from low social class backgrounds given high exposure to fast food outlets, while high social class may serve as a buffer against effects of high fast food outlet exposure. Students who see more fast food are going to eat more fast food, and they say that high social class can buffer the effects that fast food has on their lives moving forward. To combat the problems in society that make eating plant-based diets more difficult than animal-based diets is educating people on the benefits of plant-based diets. That can be by watching documentaries like What the Health or The Game Changers, which are both on Netflix, reading research online, as well as making affordable grocery outlets more available in low-income communities. This directly correlates to also relying less on fast food outlets for main sources of nutrition. These are the references that I used in my paper and